morning, everyone. May the Lord richly bless you. Thank you so much for listening in on our live broadcast. If you have questions, testimonies, or prayer requests, please let us know. You can send us in through any social media platform that you're listening in on, or you can also send that in to us on our website or the email or phone number that you see there on the screen. We sure appreciate you listening in, and again, if there's any topics that you'd like me to cover as well, I'd be glad to do that. If you're watching now, just go ahead and type in hello and say where you're from, and love to greet you and know who's watching now. So we're going to continue on the subject, women and beasts of Revelation. And this is part 2. So we went through the 3 women of the book of Revelation, and now we're going into the 2 different beasts. So this is the beast from the sea. Revelation 13, 1 and 2. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So let's look through this and begin to break this down a bit. So first of all, the beast rose up from the sea. And the sea represents multitudes of people. Let's look at Revelation 17:15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So this speaks of that part of the earth that was densely inhabited at the time that John was writing that. And the sea speaks of the Mediterranean Sea. So this is speaking about an empire that is going to be in Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, just as it was previously. Revelation 17, verse 9. So let's look at the 7 heads. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Rome is a city on 7 hills. Vatican City is in Rome. This speaks of the succession of world empires. It's not talking about 7 popes or something like that. It's talking about the succession of world empires, the 7 heads. First world empire at the time was Assyria. Second was Babylon. Third, Persia. Fourth, Greece. Fifth, the Roman Republic. Sixth, pagan Rome. Seventh, papal Rome. All right. Next, we're talking about the 10 horns. Revelation 17, 12, and 13. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So this is speaking of national rulers that come together and form a union, and then make the beast empire and make the Antichrist their king. So leopard speaks, we saw in Revelation 13 verse 2, speaks, there's a beast I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. All right, so let's look at these different empires. First of all, we're looking at the Greek Empire, Daniel 7, verse 6. And after this, I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads and dominion was given to it. So the significance of 4 is that after Alexander the Great conquered the known world at that time, he died, and his kingdom was divided up to 4 different places and was given to 4 different heads, 4 different kings. So the next one was a bear, that's from Daniel 7 verse 5, and behold another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Okay, so the bear is the Persian Empire. Then we go to Daniel 7 verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. It was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given it. So this is speaking of the Babylonian Empire. So when you're looking at this beast, the power and the demonic anointing upon it is a conglomeration of those 3 world empires. Rome is combining the different styles of power from Babylon, Persia, and Greece, all together into this strange beast that comes up out of the sea. So then the dragon, that's 13 verse 2. The dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. The dragon is Satan himself. So the one behind the beast empire is Satan himself. Satan invests his authority into the beast system. Then we come to Revelation 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. That's the point where Satan comes down and incarnates the Antichrist and takes over that empire there, and directly is in the flesh of the Antichrist to rule the kingdoms of the earth. He's already ruling it, but he's not incarnating himself. He'll do that in the tribulation period, where he will finally get his wish, where he sits as God in the temple of God and is being worshipped. Revelation 13:3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast. So this is when the Roman Empire was split in half under Constantine and turned from being a pagan empire to a Roman Catholic empire. It received, at that point in time, quite a deadly wound, and that is because it split up its power. Eventually they had two emperors, an emperor in Rome and an emperor in Constantinople, and as all the trade and commerce was flowing towards Rome, it stopped with the emperor of Constantinople, and that became actually more wealthy and primary kingdom of the Roman Empire. And Europe itself began to go into a time of dark ages where they actually went from a higher level of technology to a lower level of technology. And so that was quite a change, and went from there. There was a time where the Visigoths, which became the Germans now, came down and captured the city of Rome and looted it, and Rome remained with the Pope and an emperor that was basically just a token of the Pope at the time. And so that was that deadly wound when it went from the pagan empire and was revived as the Holy Roman Catholic Empire, but there's nothing holy about it. Okay, so then who is the first beast? This is the restored Roman Empire, who will be ruled by the Vatican under the Antichrist Pope, and we'll get into that more. But when you want to take it from there, it's Revelation chapter 17. There was a woman who is the great whore, mother of harlots, and she rides upon the beast. So when you're riding upon the beast, you're controlling it, you're taking over it. So the Antichrist Pope will be that ruler over the beast system. So we're going to bring it to a close here. We will continue on Monday looking at this second beast, which is the beast that rises up out of the earth. So if you have any questions, prayer requests, or testimonies, please let me know. You can contact me at any of the social media platforms. Thank you for listening in. May the Lord richly bless you.